So, FastForward Investments, or FastForward Innovations, we are listed on the AIM market. Our ticker is FFWD. The business actually came about as a result of a book that was written by Jim Mellon, who is our chairman and one of the major shareholders, holding just shy of 8% of the company. We effectively, what we're trying to create here is give you a venture capital type business that gives you the access to exclusive investments like you would see in the sort of top 10 investment houses in Silicon Valley. We're trying to give you that as a publicly quoted company. So you can buy and sell shares at your will. It has liquidity, and we have what we believe is a great portfolio. We don't charge huge management fees, which is one of the big issues you would have if you were with a proper venture capital fund. And our cost base is very low. We don't have big salaries. The team is very light, and we get to leverage off the likes of Jim's internal chaps who will do DD and help us with our deal flow. So we're very fortunate in that respect. Lorne Aberney is the CEO of FastForward. By the time he became CEO, he had already invested over $2 million of his own money. That was at a range between 8 and 15p. Lorne actually recently made way half of his stock for a chap called Peter Saladino, a very well-known investor in the US and Canada. He currently has a business that generates $150 million a year in revenue and is also very involved in the medical marijuana space. I will get onto that in a little bit more detail in due course. So Ian Burns, our COO and CFO, is also here today. So if you want to come visit the stand, please come and do so, and we can talk in a lot more detail, because this is going to be really just a walk through our portfolio and a bit of conceptual discussion around why we're invested in the projects that we're invested in. So, the all-important disclaimer, this is all available on the website, so I won't go through this in minutiae. So, Lorne currently has a 9.3% stake. Lorne is very well known as well for his involvement in a number of Canadian stocks which have gone very, very well. Particularly more recently Nuvera, which is one of our portfolio assets, and I'll go to in more detail. Jim, the man behind the event, is our chairman and currently owns just shy of 8%. Very well known, and obviously the book FastForward is part of the reason that this company was formed in the first place. A little bit about Ian. Ian's our CFO, and as I said, he is on our stand. I joined the company after a year or so of being a corporate advisor and consultant. I genuinely believe there are no other companies on AIM or any of the London markets that offer what FastForward does. We are unique, our investment strategy is broad, and we're very fortunate to be able to execute a strategy like that. There are not a lot of Rule 12 AIM companies left. This is a brief of our share price performance of late. As you can see, around the time of our asset Nuvera listing on the TSX, we had a rather large spike up. It's been a little bit subdued after that. We had an investor who had been in the stock for a long time who sold out, which wasn't very helpful. It wasn't, and I think actually it didn't help them very much because they missed out on some excellent numbers. So currently around 23 million pound market cap with a share price between 17 and 18p intraday. This is a nice example of what we've been up to. So we obviously look to dispose of assets when we either feel that they have achieved what we want them to, or we feel that we can't add any value to those assets ourselves. In November, we began a share buyback program, and this is quite frankly because we felt that the value of the stock at that point was not reflective of the assets we had. In truth, we certainly don't believe that the current share price is a true reflection of where our asset base is. January 2018, earlier this year, Nuvera, which is a medical marijuana producer based out of Canada, floated on the TSX. Within 20 days of listing, Nuvera had already agreed a merger effectively with Afria, which at the time, Afria was a £2.5 billion market cap. At the moment, there's been a bit of a lull in the medical cannabis space in Canada, and that's now around $1.9 billion. I'll cover more on Nuvera later. Vimo Education, one of our EdTech projects, we came out with some interesting news around 2017 showing some excellent progress in the company. EdTech is something that formed the basis of our initial portfolio. March, Peter Saladino acquired 9.37%, which was exactly half of Lorne's holding, and this is a very strategic buy. More to follow on this later. And in April, we're expecting the Afria deal to close. To give you a bit of color on the Afria deal, fast forward, we invested $3 million at $1 a share value. The deal with Afria will pay us 60 cents per share, so we're going to receive $1.8 million of cash as part of that consideration, and then 0.3546 of an Afria share, which will give us, I think, around about 1 million shares. I need to check the numbers on that. So this is the book available, and a very good read. It's really effectively all about how technology is going to have a huge impact on our lives, and the problems that we face on a day-to-day, no matter how big or small, will often be solved by a technology solution. Disruption, the biggest word in technology or in any business really. All of our companies, particularly in the technology sector, are disruptive. And Nuvera, to a degree, I would say, is also disruptive because effectively they found solutions. They looked for a company to invest in that did the things that they thought should be going on, international development into Europe, not just Canada, and that is exactly what they did there. Life sciences revolution, cannabis. I've talked about it at length today. I'm sure you're getting bored of me talking about it. However, it is, we believe, an extremely young and developing market. There are so many opportunities, not just in Canada. Canada is a market that has embraced it, unlike, unfortunately, the UK. But we are the only company in the UK, listed on any of the UK markets, that is currently directly invested in a medical marijuana producer. So it's an area that we feel has huge growth, particularly in Europe, as it happens. Europe is going to be the dominant medical marijuana user in the next 2 to 5 years, and getting involved in that space now. The obvious market for European stocks is London, in my opinion, and certainly in the board's opinion. As I said earlier, Peter Saladino bought in to our company, paid real money. There was no sweetheart deal. He paid 17.6 pence per share, which did half Lorne's holding. However, we believe that he will be an important shareholder going forward. Finance and banking, FinTech, another area that's been huge over the last 10 years, I would say, but more so in the last 3 years. So let's get into the portfolio. So Nuvera, currently we are slightly diluted down to 3.4% of the Nuvera. As I mentioned already, after 20 days of being listed, and remember this company was only formed in March 2017. So in less than a year, we've gone from a company that was a private company to selling to one of the largest medical marijuana producers in Canada. It's a great deal for Nuvera. As I said, we get some of our cash back immediately, $1.8 million. Remember, our total consideration was $3 million, plus we have the upside of all the Afria shares. Again, Lorne Abney, our CEO, is also president of Nuvera, so it's a company that we're very close to. Nuvera will ultimately become Afria, so we will become an Afria shareholder. That, again, should be end of Q1 probably Q2 that deal comes to fruition. Factum, Bitcoin, blockchain, all of these are now household names. We are not focused on Bitcoin. We're not particularly interested in cryptocurrencies. As interesting as they are, we don't know enough about them, is the God's honest truth. We just don't understand. They're too volatile. But the underlying blockchain technology, which is the greatest thing we believe to come out of the digital currency space, Factum is a company that was created to take forward the blockchain revolution. Now, Factum, again, they do have a currency which is linked to them, but that is not what their business is. I'm sure plenty of you work in the financial services here, or in banks, mortgage companies, any company for that matter, where you need to keep records and you need to be able to draw on those records at any time. Very, very few companies manage this process very well because it is subject to human error. Documents get abused, documents get changed, shall we say, to suit the company's interests. Blockchain technology will allow every single piece of data that you as a company or any of your staff in your company produce, which could, in theory, make you liable to lawsuits. You will have a time-stamped document which will allow you to draw on that whenever you need. It cannot be manipulated due to the blockchain technology. So Factum, we think, is a class leader in that space, and they are talking to multiple companies, the Federal Reserve, you name it. There are huge applications for this. In the current regulatory environment in the UK and Europe, for example, MiFID II, which is another regulatory framework, which is generally there to protect retail consumers. Like all of us, we all have bank accounts. We are effectively retail consumers. Banks have to be more and more transparent. Factum, one of the greatest things I think that I read, and one of their reasons for coming to being, was in the wake of the global financial crisis. They believe that had their technology been available to the big banks, that could have been avoided. So again, this is a technology that has been created in order to solve a problem that affected us all, I suspect, in some degree. Probably in a big degree for a lot of us. Intensity Therapeutics, an unsung hero in our portfolio. Again, very difficult as a public company owning private company assets. We cannot always get the information out to our shareholders as we would like to. In the case of Intensity, given that it's a biotech business and it is involved in injecting deep tumors that in many cases would be inoperable, it's not to do with the blood, it is all about injecting difficult tumor masses. So far, it is making leaps and bounds, and I think this is a real unsung hero in our portfolio. Again, unfortunately, we can't always tell you guys exactly what's going on there, but all I can say is this company has big things to come. In the last 6, I'm being told I'm going on too long. Sorry, guys, I could talk all day about this. However, I'll finish up as swiftly as I can. They have injected a number of patients now, and necrosis of the tumors have been noticed or observed in those patients, which is fantastic based on the fact that they are injecting a very low dosage of this medicine. Vimo Education, one of our EdTech businesses. I don't, unfortunately, have a lot of time to go through it, so I'm going to click through the last few slides here. Yuya, a massive potential again. This is based in video distribution networks, so the likes of YouTube. Asia has a huge number of these type of platforms which allow us to potentially sell brands as well by advertising on these platforms. Just to give you a very quick example, UFC, which is obviously a Western brand, used Yuya to promote their services, and they got 52 million hits for them in a very short space of time on a small campaign. But this number is actually incorrect. No, it's not even on there. We've had 3.4 billion lifetime views across our platforms using Yuya. So again, a huge space for the future. Leap Gaming, a sale that we're about to conclude at the moment. $4.9 million coming back to the company, so we will near double our investment in this company. Not that we don't like it, it's simply that the investor who wants to buy it is a strategic investor and will help the company grow to where it has the potential to grow to. Kickwheel, helping effectively recruiting students for universities in the US and helping those students as they go through their university and into the big wide world. PulseFlow, another fairly misunderstood part of our portfolio. Diabetes is enormously on the rise. It's a huge problem worldwide. Amputations, unfortunately, are common because you can't get the blood flow and infections are common. PulseFlow, if you do get a chance to talk to Jim, he's a big supporter of this particular company, so do have a word with him. In summary, we've adopted a venture capital approach. We're trying to give you guys the opportunity to invest in companies that are exclusive and you otherwise would not be able to get a look in the door. This is what we're here to do. We're here to deliver back to shareholders. We don't take big salaries. Sorry, I'm being asked to wind up now, so I'm going to say, on that note, please come visit us at the stand and we can talk more about it. Thank you very much.